How do we form strong, lasting relationships? When you have a bad dream, is there a human or furry someone who snuggles up to comfort you? Who do you reach out to when you have good news? Who laughs and cries with you? Who works or plays with you? Who do you share a meal or a drink with, or work on a project with together? Let's look at some different kinds of relationships. I spent a lot of time interviewing people for this video about their relationships, and then I inadvertently deleted them all. So here's a synopsis. My sister Chris and I talked about our sibling relationship, how we had an intimate understanding of each other's history, how we could make each other laugh, and we could also make each other very angry, but how we could always forgive each other. And we talked about how we helped each other learn to fight fair. We talked about how we could communicate our ideas with very few words, ideas that might take a lengthy explanation were we to try to explain it to someone else. Each of us builds a life by the little ways we relate to the world around us. Have you tended a garden or a houseplant? Have you rescued a stray or adopted a pet? Filled a bird feeder? Avoided stepping on an earthworm on the sidewalk? Taken food to a sick friend or sent a sympathy card? What gifts and talents do you offer to the world? Our friend Kate McAllister made an impression on me when she said she leaves a free shopping cart at Aldi for someone who might not have a quarter. Next, I interviewed Christy and Nancy about their relationship as friends. They talked about how even though they had only known each other a few years, it felt as though they'd known each other forever, that they could share intimate details of each other's lives because they had developed a great trust in each other, having worked together and endured some of the same family struggles. Empathy, trust, forgiveness, a willingness to sacrifice, fun, balance, sharing stories, laughter, common struggles, little daily acts of generosity, parallel paths on changing journeys, becoming new selves, listening, compromise. I interviewed Jessamine and Jeremy about their relationship as a married couple, and they talked about the little acts of generosity, such as Jeremy always making coffee every morning. And they talked about being able to share tasks and to trade tasks if needed, if someone has a change in career or position. They talked about how their paths have been parallel but not straight, that they have changed and grown as people side by side. I interviewed Emily and Garrett about their relationship as a dating couple who live together and work together. And they said that they always seem to be able to find ways to have fun together, and that their personalities are opposite, and that works well for them. I interviewed Wendell and Andrew about their relationship as parent and child, who also happen to work together. And they talked about how important it is for parents and children to really listen to each other, even when they have different ideas about things, and to come to compromise. Jason Stevenson said, "You recognize the mutually beneficial relationship you have with the earth, As plants breathe out, they offer the oxygen required to sustain and nourish your existence. And likewise, as you exhale, you offer to the plants the carbon dioxide they require to make carbohydrates.
See, I get tired when going uphill. Yeah.
Finally, I interviewed Jeff Barr about his relationship with the earth. Jeff talked about his respect for the philosophy of indigenous peoples of the Americas and their role as caretakers of the earth rather than owners of the earth. He talked about thinking globally and acting locally with regard to our Earth Mother. In her book, Braiding Sweetgrass, botanist and indigenous woman Robin Wall Kimmerer says, "In a way, I was raised by strawberries, fields of them, not to exclude the maples, hemlocks, white pines, goldenrod, asters, violets, and mosses of upstate New York, but it was the wild strawberries beneath dewy leaves on an almost summer morning who gave me my sense of the world and my place in it." She adds, "Strawberries first shaped my view of a world full of gifts simply scattered at your feet. A gift comes to you through no action of your own, free, having moved toward you without your beckoning. It is not a reward. You cannot earn it or call it to you or even deserve it, and yet it appears. Your only role is to be open-eyed and present. Gifts exist in a realm of humility and mystery. As with random acts of kindness, we do not know their source." Gifts from the earth or from each other establish a particular relationship, an obligation of sorts to give, to receive, and to reciprocate. The field gave strawberries to us. We gave to each other, and we tried to give back to the strawberries. When the berry season was done, the plants would send out slender red runners to make new plants. Because I was fascinated by the way they would travel over the ground looking for good places to take root, I would weed out little patches of bare ground where the runners touched down. Sure enough, tiny little roots would emerge from the runner, and by the end of the season there were even more plants ready to bloom under the next strawberry moon. No person taught us this. The strawberries showed us. Because they had given us a gift, an ongoing relationship opened between us. Thich Nhat Hanh said, "Walk as if you're kissing the earth with your feet." As we say metta prayers, wishing loving kindness upon all in ever-widening circles, we affirm our relationship with those we love, with those we're acquainted with, and finally, stretching our goodwill out to the whole world. Amen, and blessed be.